Hello, beautiful lady. Welcome back to Higher Self and I. I hope you're having a good day. Today, we're going to have a little look at 3 things to consider if you've lost yourself in your strategy. Now, this might feel a little bit new to you today because you might not notice that you've been doing this. You might not notice that you've lost yourself in the strategy, in the kind of doing, in the constant trying to overconsume and overlearn, over know what you need to be doing in the how of your business. And you've probably seen success, okay? You've experienced the growth, but right now there's a cheeky block. There's a little cheeky block that's not letting you pass that current level. You've been kind of feeling maybe a little bit stagnant, a bit stuck, this business roller coaster that I hear so very often when my clients first start working with me, kind of flitting back and forward, not truly giving yourself enough time to settle into the strategy that you know will work. And I see this so often that you get yourself so lost and so wrapped up and so focused on the strategy side of things that actually you're missing a very important part, the subconscious mind, obviously, to hold you in the strategies. And you're constantly on this investment, overlearn, overconsume, investment, overlearn, overconsume within strategy, whether it's content, whether it's product suite, whether it's like whatever the strategy is that you're investing in right now, thinking that it's going to work, thinking this is going to be the thing, this is going to be the one thing that really truly helps me. And the problem is that it's not a lack of knowledge, it's not a lack of know-how, it's not you not believing that it's not even available for you. It's just those subconscious beliefs that are not holding you in trusting the strategy that you know works. And I've seen this so often. I saw it really, really clearly with one of the clients that I worked with last year, where now actually we've done the mindset work, we've got over some of the blocks that were holding her back, and she's doing exactly the same strategy that she quote unquote thought wasn't working when we started working together. She uses it now and she actually teaches it and makes a lot of money from teaching it. So it was because of the subconscious beliefs. It was because of a lot of actions that were happening around the kind of lack of belief that she had within that was really making her lost in the strategy. When I mean lost, what I mean by lost in the strategy is that you're constantly looking outside of yourself for the missing piece. And that's why I really wanted to dive into 3 things that I know that you can go through to really allow yourself to, 1, become consistent with your strategy, aligned with that strategy that works for you, and 2, do it long enough so you reap and see the rewards. So let's start today with self-trust. Because a lot of the time that we move away from a strategy, sometimes within the first week of trying it, sometimes within the first month of trying it, is because of the lack of self-trust within ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that every strategy might work for you. Like, there could be some strategies that you're doing within your business right now that are definitely not working and you've given it a really good go. That's a different podcast. Right now, we're talking about you trusting yourself and knowing that the strategy that you're using right now is going to come to fruition. So when you look at continuously building the self-trust, this is because you are seeking reassurance from elsewhere right now. And the more you seek reassurance from the external, the more you lack trust within yourself. It doesn't seem to be enough of an indication for you to trust yourself, so you have to keep looking at the external. And yes, it is important to look at the external sometimes when it comes to your business, whether that's monetary external, downloads, saves on your post, whatever, like what's resonating with your audience. Yes, that external is very important within your business, but if you keep pinning your success or your worth onto this, that's when it starts to go wrong. So have a little look of how you can continue to build self-trust to be able to stick to the strategy that you want to step into. And how do we do this? I know that's the question that you're asking. How do we do this? The first thing that you need to have a look at is where the lack of self-trust is coming from. Is it from a previous experience? Is it something that happened between the ages of 7? Probably yes. So is it the fact that you haven't been consistent in your life, that you haven't allowed yourself to step into that consistency before? What does that look like for you? Have a little look, get really familiar with what that is, because that's where we're going to find the key. That's where we're going to start to unlock and have a look at actually what it could be instead. From there, you want to start to build that trust muscle, just like you would build muscles at the gym. And I say this all the time. You wouldn't go to the gym one day and do 20k deadlift and then go the next day and do a 100k deadlift. You have to work up. You have to build the muscle to work up to that amount. So we need to do that with the trust muscle as well. Really starting to seek out the evidence of you trusting yourself, even if that's you trusting yourself to make a decision on what to watch, trust yourself on making a decision on what to cook for dinner, trust yourself to make a decision on what to wear, trust yourself to make a decision on how to call to action your one-to-one services or sell your one-to-one services. Whatever that looks like, you need to keep building that muscle. Building the muscle within your subconscious mind happens through repetition. It happens through acknowledgement that you're doing it, like, oh, look at me trusting myself. Ting, 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 we've got the evidence. And repetition. The brain learns best from repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. So how many times in the day can you go, oh, okay, I could trust myself a little bit more here. Oh, okay, I could actually bring this in a little bit more here. You know, really start to work on the trusting of yourself. The more you trust yourself, the more you can go, you know what? I'm going to give a really good go to this strategy that I've spent a lot of money learning. I'm going to give a really good go at this strategy that when I invested in this course, I thought was going to be the be all and end all strategy. Maybe you haven't given it enough time to actually see what it could do for your business. So first of all, build the self-trust. Have a little look. Where is lack of self-trust coming up in your life? Is it more so in your business? Do you have trust in other areas of your life? Could you pull upon things where you're like, wow, okay, I really trust myself in my relationship. So what's different than my business in that? What makes the difference? Why do I trust myself in my relationship or trust myself with my health, trust myself in my money, and I don't trust myself in the business? Because if you can do it for one thing, you can do it for everything. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So really having a look at the trust that you have. Okay, what's stopping me from trust myself in my business? Is it a belief? Is it a story? Probably. Having a look into that. Really continue to build the self-trust. Number 2, something that I do with my clients all the time, is a consumption ban. Stop consuming, because when you find yourself continuously triggered by other coaches or business owners' rapid growth, just kind of comparing yourself to them anyway, you're again bringing that lack of trust in. You know you shouldn't be comparing yourself and you know you want to do better at it, but there's something that just takes you back every single time. And actually, you keep watching what that person's doing with their strategy and you keep watching what that person's doing with their strategy. And you're like, well, they're doing it, so let's switch it. Okay, they're doing it, so let's switch it. They're doing it, so let's switch it. And you're consuming this many people's strategies and you're like, oh, I'll add this and I'll add this and I'll add this. And you've lost yourself. You've lost yourself and what you know to be true. Maybe one strategy that you've been doing has been really freaking working, bringing you in the big bucks, and you go, oh, okay, well, I've done that strategy now, so let's change here. Like, I've grown my business by repetition. I really have stuck to and repeated on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. And it works because I've trusted myself in that. And yes, have I wanted to veer away or thought it wasn't working in the past? Yes, of course I have. But the trust in that repetition is key. So stop consuming. If you need to unfollow the people, unfollow the people. If you need to put the blinkers on, put the blinkers on. Because the moment you trust yourself and your decisions, the moment that you believe that you are freaking worthy of everything you desire, the moment you lead with purpose, that's when comparison fades. And actually, you get lost in a strategy because you're consuming others and thinking, okay, well, that's how they're doing it, so let me do it. You don't know the backstory of how they've got there. You don't know the backstory of how much time they've put in, of how much money they've invested, how much money they had before the business, how many people they have helping them. You can't create that picture. So actually, you comparing yourself is taking yourself away from the thing that you know to be true. And I want you to stop doing that. Number 2. Number 3 is creating consistency within yourself. This is one thing that my clients say to me all the time. Beck, I want consistency within myself. I want to trust myself that I'm going to take the action. I want to trust myself that I'm going to follow through on what I say. And you can. That can become your reality if you repeat it enough times and if you have the belief system that supports you in that. You know you want it deep down. But, like that, why should I even bother? I never follow through. I've never done it before, so how can I do it now? Every time you say that, you create this strong neural pathway that proves that to be true. So actually, if you can create consistency within yourself, just like building your self-trust, have a look. Where have you got consistency in other areas of your life? Do you wake up every morning? Yes, you do. How have you created that consistency? You learned it. You can learn these behaviors. Our brain is neuroplastic. You can learn these behaviors. You can learn to step into the identity of someone who has consistency with themselves. Every single time you brush your teeth, go, wow, look how consistent I am with brushing my teeth. Every single time you take your dog for a walk, go, wow, look how consistent I am taking my dog for a walk. Every single time you sit down to do your podcast, every single day, every single Tuesday, every single week, go, wow, look how consistent I am with this. Start to create the evidence bank. Start to build up that amount of evidence that shows that you can be consistent with yourself. Really start small. Start as small as you can. Whatever that looks like for you. I was gonna give some examples. The only thing I could think of was eating dinner. But start really small, because we need to back ourselves in business. We need to back our decisions, because we have no one above us apart from the old universe supporting us. Like, we don't have that boss that we can go and ask. We don't have that person doing our, weekly, yearly check-ins and reviews. We have to back ourselves. And every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you're building that pathway. You're building that neural pathway that proves it. So say you're going to do something, and if you know that you're 100% going to do that, follow through and then go, wow, look what I've just done. Look at me following through on my actions and creating the consistency. So let's recap. 3 things that I see if you're kind of falling into the strategy being the answer. If you've lost yourself in kind of constantly working on a strategy that you think is going to work for you. Number 1, continue to build your self-trust. Where in your life do you have self-trust? What's different between that and your business? Start to have a look at that. Is it beliefs? Do you need to work with your subconscious around that? Do you need to just build that trust muscle a little bit more? Number 2, stop consuming. Stop thinking that everyone else has the answers. You have the answers. You know what to do. Number 3, create consistency within in yourself. The smallest things in your life, create consistency with them, and then tell your subconscious mind how consistent you are. Look at me being consistent. That's what I do. That's who I am. That's my identity.